Welcome back to the High School Fan Zone. On a Wednesday night, we're going to slip into the Patriot Fan Zone. Something a little bit different. We're going to talk tennis because this crew had a very good 2 days at the 5-4A, Cory?
Gotcha.
Okay, District 5-4A district tournament down in Snyder. Cory Axton, tennis coach, is with me. I'm going to have his two players that are, if you are watching on TV, you see the two young folks sitting here. I'm going to have them introduce themselves by voice here real quick.
Hello, I'm Sawyer Mulkey.
I'm Ava Prince.
Sawyer's a freshman, and Ava's a sophomore. We're about to the point, Cory, where I don't have to say that everybody at Liberty's young, because we're starting to, next year you actually have to start thinking about senior day events and things like that where you haven't had to mess with it these first couple of years.
Correct. And the thing is, it is going to be good to have some seniors, but and we're not going to have many. We're only going to have 3 on our team. But it's good that we're going to start getting a full team.
Which you just getting a little bit background, just sitting here, you told me that the numbers increased this year for you guys, which ties into a little bit what you accomplished. Let me read through that real quick. The text that Cory sent me, I want to make sure I get everything correct here. Tied for first place overall in girls, first overall in boys, first overall as a team. Ava Prince and Ethan Hampton first place in mixed doubles. Sawyer Mulkey first place in boys singles. Rivers and Sawyer second place in girls singles. Cameron Stevens and, how do you say that?
Vojta Halamak.
Second place in boys doubles. Chase Welburn third place in girls singles. Jaden Fuller and Grant Dallas third place in boys doubles. And Lillian McCullen and Peyton Rogers third place in girls doubles. All of them advanced?
Not all of them. Everybody that got first or second qualified. Okay. So you take the first 2 in district will qualify to regionals. But when you get to regionals, the top 3 will go to state.
That's a little bit different than some of the other sports where they start to winnow the field a little bit. But you two, were you part of the team? Obviously Sawyer wasn't. He was in the 8th grade. Ava, were you part of the team last year when you guys kind of stuck your toe in the water to get used to being at the high school level?
Yes, sir. That was our first year of tennis, so yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah, and obviously things, Coach mentioned, a lot of improvement this year. You've welcomed some new young players in, but what has been the difference for you guys?
Honestly, skill. A lot of us progressed. Sawyer's very good, but he came in just this year, so honestly, just skill.
Sawyer, she's kind of shining the spotlight on you there. Coming in as a freshman and stepping in, a lot of Liberty kids had to get used to playing high school sports, varsity sports last year. You got to kind of come in and see how that was done, watching those. What has been the adjustment for you? What's been the challenges, and why have you excelled at them?
I think the differences in skill level with the players I was competing with was a huge adjustment I had to make. The pace was a lot faster, and I was playing people who were almost adults, and I was still maturing. So they're a foot taller than me. They've got a crazy serve, so adjusting to that was something big.
Tennis and golf are a little bit different than most high school sports because, as Sawyer pointed out, Cory, a lot of those, when they're good, they're competing against people a lot older than them, which when you're a coach, you have to, they're still teenagers, they're still young people, but you have to kind of maybe adjust the way you coach and talk to them a little bit because you know that they're well-versed in what they're doing.
And I would say the biggest adjustment that I've ever seen is, especially when you're a good player in middle school and you think you're good, and then you get to high school and you're playing these guys with beards and all this stuff, like what he's talking about, and just exactly getting used to the pace. Because in middle school you'll have some, but it's definitely completely different when you're a freshman playing a junior or a senior. And once you get that pace down and get used to it, just a faster game, usually it takes a year. I think Sawyer, it took him about a semester though, which was nice. And but once you get that down, it helps out tremendously.
So you're not shaving yet?
Occasionally.
Okay. Ava, kind of follow up what Coach said there. You had that year to get used to the pace. How different was it from year 1 to year 2?
A lot, honestly. In our first year, we played in 3A. And, it was still hard once we got past district. But honestly, our district was a lot more difficult this year. just a lot different skill and just higher competition.
We're coming up on a break here, but I will pull the curtain back. When I was in high school a long, long time ago, way back before you guys were ever around, one of my best friends played tennis, and I followed and watched a lot of tennis. I never understood how doubles partners communicated. It's like almost a unspoken thing. So I want you to talk about that. We're coming up on the break. We'll come back in the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta.
Bringing you the latest news from Liberty Athletics. This is the Patriot Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. We're talking Liberty tennis because the Patriots won the District 5 4A championship. They play in the regionals right here in Lubbock. Right now it's at the McLeod Tennis Center May 2nd and 3rd. Or no, it's later in the week.
Yeah, 9th and 10th.
9th and 10th, because 2nd and 3rd is when Texas Tech will be in the regional. It could slide from the McLeod Tennis Center to Lubbock Cooper if the Red Raiders tennis team gets a super regional.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So, but you guys will still get to sleep in your own beds. Yes. You won't have to travel, which is kind of cool. I know it's fun to go on the road sometimes, but Cory, how you don't get to determine that. They tell you where to go, but how big an advantage can that be to have regionals right here in your backyard?
It's pretty good. I'm kind of one of those. I do like the experience of the kids to travel and go somewhere. And if I had my choice, I would probably rather it be at Tech because it's just a different type of feel playing at the college campus and stuff like that. But they're definitely familiar with the courts at Cooper. We're there every day and stuff like that. So it's a win-win for either way. But I definitely want the Tech women to take care of business and win-win and everything like that. But yeah, we'll just see. I was going to say it's going to be good. Whether we're at the Tech courts or at our own courts.
I'm gonna get Ava to talk about the doubles question. I had it in a minute here, but before I forget, you mentioned you're playing at Lubbock Cooper's facility now, but starting in the fall.
We definitely hope so. Last I heard, it's going to be May.
The Liberty
end
facility,
of May. So we're
there in front of the school will be good to go.
It's looking good, and they're doing progress, doing a fantastic job, and all the people that have worked on it, from our administration, athletic directors. I mean, it's going to be a top-notch facility, and I know along with the kids, we are like so pumped and ready for it to open.
Well, whoever's deciding on your facilities, when you walk into that football stadium and I've been to the baseball stadium a few times. If they follow that blueprint, you guys are going to have a very fun place to call home.
Absolutely.
So Ava, explain to me the communication on doubles, because when I see pictures, it confuses me even more because you're behind each other. Yeah, just explain how doubles works and how you communicate while the ball's live.
So you can't really talk during a point, but let's say like a ball goes over you and you're at the net. I mean, you say switch, mine, you got it. But after the point's over, you can talk to each other. You got 30 seconds. You do hand signals behind your back where you want them to serve, if you're going to poach or stay. You can really talk about anything as long as the point's not in play.
You've got to be really smart to be a doubles player then. Not the singles players have to be smart too, Sawyer, but I mean, you have to think on your feet really quickly.
Yeah, really observant.
And you've played girls doubles and you played mixed doubles, so you can get along with the other gender as well.
Mixed doubles is a lot different than girls doubles, actually.
So having you're making me more intrigued.
Having a boy on the court is a lot more intimidating.
How come?
Because they have a lot more power. A lot taller, actually.
Sawyer, do you play doubles also?
In the fall season, I played mixed doubles all season with Rivers and Sawyer, the other number one seeded girl on our team.
Who finished second.
Yes, sir.
So same thing for you. What's the difference for you between singles and doubles?
I think doubles it takes a lot more like reaction time and being able to like be ready at the net, or it takes a lot more communication and chemistry getting along with your partner. I feel like singles, it's a lot more mentally challenging because, you're by yourself out there, you don't have anyone to talk to, and it gets really easy to get upset at yourself or get down on yourself really easily. I think it takes a lot more mental fortitude to persevere through a singles match.
So, Cory, hearing the young people talk about it here, they're almost two different games.
Completely.
Not a different sport, but a different game.
Yes, definitely. And I have to be selective on who I want where, because Ava's in that position for a reason, is because I think she can handle playing with the boys. Sometimes that's the case. They're going to drill it right at her, and there's some girls that can take it, and there's some girls that cannot. And so Ava's one of those that she stays in there. She's a fighter. She'll be, she's good to go. She can handle it. But and then there's others. I'm really big into communication. She does a fantastic job, her and her partner. But yeah, there's some that are just a little more geared towards some singles and stuff like that. Now in the fall, you don't get a choice. You're playing both, right. But yeah, definitely in the spring, you get a choice a little bit more.
Well, we'll have you guys on again either in the fall or next spring, because fall tennis is also a whole different animal than spring tennis, and that's something I had to learn when I got here. That's not a thing in Kansas. It's just spring season. So this team is headed to regionals after a great district tournament. We'll follow up on that after, see what they do, and we'll talk about it here on the High School Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta. This 100.7 The Score. We'll be back next week.